Um, Now, because of the time issue, obviously, I'm not. You'll have seen some presentation for a presentation, a no-wide presentation from Shakila before, and this is now. Can I hide this thing or not? Are you seeing this little meeting now thing in the bottom right corner?
Yeah, no, don't worry about that. It's not disturbing us, so this is fine.
Let's bring that back again. Okay, finally.
Yeah.
Sorry. So this is a little bit more of an update, rather specifically on things going on with STAR for products, and mostly it's to do with either the geopolar blended or the legacy Metasat retrievals, and there's also some stuff to do with the ocean heat content products that are produced. And there's just a list of the people that are involved in it. I'm going to skip through quite quickly because obviously I've wasted a couple of minutes anyway. Currently, we are producing sea surface temperatures from Metasat 10 and Metasat 9. Obviously, we had a mission swap, went back to Metasat 10 Severi earlier this year. And both of those use the Bayesian cloud screening and the MTLS physical retrieval. The more modern sensors, GOES 18, is now going into the geopolar blended, and GOES East, which is GOES 16, is also going into the geopolar blended. Those are using the AXPO algorithm along with the NOAA 20 and SNPP VIIRS. Himawari 8 has been, I think we're on back on Himawari 9 now. That again is the AXPO algorithm. The second thing is that we have just been awarded some funding to reprocess the geostationaries back to 1995. We had previously done it for geos over 2002 to 2016. But we're going to reprocess them again because that was a little bit of a hodgepodge before, and we're going to use ERA 5 as the only realistic, I think, input that we have to get consistent results for the input data that we need for the Bayesian and the physical retrieval. And we are still running the geopolar blended, the day-night, the night only, and the diagonally corrected day-night, which isn't available on the PODAC as far as we've realized all of a sudden, but it is available via the CoastWatch website. And we have, because it's dynamically corrected, it used the turbulence model, that Cantor Clayson Wick model, which I'll talk about a little bit more about later. And we've updated solar absorption parameterization, and Gary has been working on retuning the model and also transferring it over to EUMETSAT. So when we have reprocessed data, the geopolar data, then we can put that into the blended, and so we will reprocess that back to 1995. And we're going to be using a new bias correction scheme that's going to be developed. I have a postdoc from Korea starting on December the 1st, hopefully. So we are also generating ocean heat content products for the North Atlantic, North Pacific, and the South Pacific. Basically, this is essentially, where the tropical cyclones are forming, and that's where people really care about ocean heat content. And then also we have this joint science agreement, which has been technically running for a few years, but in reality has really only fired up this last year in terms of getting things moving. So we have ongoing meetings and then a whole bunch of activities involving CalVal for sea surface temperature, high latitude, and lake water surface temperature. These are areas of interest to both organizations. A little bit more on that. Gary and I visited EUMETSAT for 2 weeks in June, specifically to work on the science cooperation plans. Sandra was there as well, working on, I would say, other things, evaluation of the high-res drifters and such like. We also have an Arctic-specific SST analysis proposal that was being pushed around, but it seems to have been subsumed into our overall next-gen SST project, which is something that's basically picking up steam within NOAA and sort of grist to the mill, really, if you pardon the pun there. They basically said, we don't necessarily think that we need an extra project to do Arctic specific. We just, the point is noted that even, we've got to take SST even more seriously than we have been doing. There's a lake water temperatures user request that's being reviewed as well. And then regarding the CalVal activities with the SLSTR, I did some work on what may be described as the partial day 2 retrievals, essentially the new algorithm coefficients, but not the revised Bayesian screening when I was there in June in EUMETSAT. And then I'm going to do some more work when the data are available. I believe they must be close to being available now, in fact, where I will analyze that, including the cloud screening, improved cloud screening as well. And the Central 3 validation team meeting is coming up soon. So I'll be able to hopefully present that meeting there. Just to give you an idea about the day 2 algorithms, what I did find, essentially, if we look on the left-hand left top is the N2 SST. That's the one that basically was being cut off above 35 because of the noted biases, essentially. And on the right-hand side at the top, you can see that kind of bend in the line has basically been flattened out nicely. And that, even though it's a significant effect in N2, there were residual effects in the D2 algorithm. And so I basically would say that the right-hand line at the bottom right is flatter than the one on the bottom left for the D2 algorithms. And that's a good thing, basically, as far as I'm concerned. As I mentioned, the geopolar is the dynamic warming model is being shared with the EUMETSAT, and the warming is going to be incorporated into the MDB, including the new parameterizations. We are looking at doing the new bias corrections using Central 3 A and B SLSTR. The dual view product is going to be our reference as to why I care so much about the D2 being a good algorithm. We're looking at going to roughly, let's say, 1 kilometer resolution, at least probably a factor 4 increase in the resolving power of the analysis. Resolving power is not necessarily the same thing as the grid spacing. And then we have the task of moving our products into the NOAA cloud facility, which is quite a performance in a way. But that is basically moving ahead now. And there are, for the ocean heat content, Sentinel 6A is going into the OHC, and an improved OHC algorithm has been developed, including bumping up the resolution to match that essentially of the geopolar. Of course, there may be the question as to what resolution you're really getting from the altimeters, but that's another matter. And then those OHC products are also being migrated to the NOAA cloud in 2023. And I think, so the migration is probably on track for early 2024 for the SST products, the way things are going at the moment. Now, I'm going to cheat very slightly here. I'm going straight to my backup material. I wanted to show you a little bit of stuff about the new installation parameterization, which is involves modeling diurnal warming using a new installation parameterization that takes into account atmospheric water vapor and the solar zenith angle. And what you can see here is the difference in the warming between doing it and not doing it, essentially. The top panel is July, the month of July, and the bottom panel is the month of March, where, basically the sun is roughly at the equator, and you'd expect the water vapor to have a bigger effect. And you can see these patterns basically that we get here are simply due to changing the absorption parameters, the solar absorption. There was no other changes in the model, essentially. And that's a good thing because we are looking at using the Sentinel 3 A and B dual view products. So that's the day and night products for D2 and D3 as our bias correction reference. And I did a little bit of work when I was at EUMETSAT looking at the changes in quality control. And by and large, backing off the quality control does seem to produce stronger bias correction features. but I'm rather interested to see what happens when the new and improved cloud screening happens, essentially, because I'm not completely convinced at the moment that everything we see in the left-hand panel is completely legitimate. Yeah, so that's it there. I'll stop there.